beginning stages of my musical career. Today we are featuring Mr. Jake Bergevin on the trumpet and on vocals. Please give him a hand. Today's program, I would like to remind all of you to please turn off your cell phones or put them on silence. You may use them to take pictures always. Right, it's a great time to take a picture of kids if you can. We're going to start today's program with the Chamber Orchestra, directed by Mrs. Dalia Horanziak. We're going to play the Neruda Concerto featuring the trumpet, the Doral Chamber Orchestra. Thank you. High School, among other places that he taught over many years. So today we're going to perform benediction conducted by Mr. Charles Luis.
My select members from the jazz band will be performing two songs for you, Sing, 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 and Orange Colored Sky. We're really excited for both of these and can't wait to share them with you. So let's hear Sing, Sing, Sing first, shall we?
Invited us over here to be a part of your all's wonderful concert this evening with a fabulous trumpet player. I was up there checking him out as he was playing with you guys. I guess it's kind of a little bit of a quid pro quo, right? You invited us over here, and one of the reasons why we're having such a great time with Evan and the band this year is later on in May, the jazz band is coming over and being part of our jazz festival on May 6th and 7th. Obviously, you're all invited. We're having a great jazz trombone player named Ben Patterson, who is a former member of the Airman Note, which is one of the premier jazz bands in the United States military armed forces bands. So it's going to be a treat to have him. He'll be playing with the Doral Red Rock Jazz Big Band. He'll be playing with my big band, the CSN Jazz Band, and also be playing with the Ben Patterson Quartet. He'll be playing with a group of jazz musicians from our faculty. If I can give a real quick spiel, as we're still getting a little bit set up, a quick rehearsal from my group. We are located up on the north side of town on Cheyenne is where our music department is. We have a concert band, we have a jazz band, we have an orchestra, we have a vocal jazz group. We also have our chamber singers. We have scholarships. Now I got your attention. And I know there's a lot of great schools here in the state of Nevada, as well as our neighbors to the east and to the west. But we all know things happen, and we love all of our community, and we are a community college at its heart. And even if things happen and things don't go the way you may have planned, CSN is there for you guys. And so go ahead, if you're interested, seniors and juniors, start checking us out. Get registered. Even if you don't know what you want to do, we can at least get you started on a path to anything, not just music. So thank you all so much. Thank you to Mr. Evan for inviting us. We're going to be playing just a couple tunes. We're also going to have your all's guest artists filling in with us as well. So thank you very much.
making the list of life. Truth takes a lead and you relax, knowing the gist of life. It's truth you need, and the second is honor, and happiness makes number 3. When you put them together, you'll know what the last one must be. Baby, so it's truth, honor, and happiness. And one thing more, meaning only wonderful, wonderful love that'll make it fun. Don't you know the score? Well, people when they're younger, they never realize the pleasure, treasure life's got. But as they grow older, they realize a lot. They got their minds on all the wronger scenes, and think they cost a lot of money, but it's really very funny. They pay their way, it don't amount to a hill of beans. Funny how the things in life we really should adore, we forget and ignore, end up poor. Making money to an eye of the madness and end up in sadness. Youth is the time when we should seek the light. Cause when you're all waiting, the news will all be changing, run so high, never paid to be die then. We know the youth that made us strong is 41. So enjoy it daily, love life, and live it daily. You'll find a lot of things that bring you joy and give peace of mind. So get it while the getting's good. Everybody, if they only could. Life could be a set, life could be a groovy set, groovy as a movie. Wail, wail, let your voice be heard. Spread the word. Everybody here's got ears. Only gotta teach them how to use them, not abuse them. So take a tip from me. The world's everything it ought to be, as long as you can be sure there is no more life than the same old fun. Hard to believe I know, but even though it may be getting kind of boresome, do and do together come to do the foursome. That's all, 4 is the figure, that's all. Ain't gonna be getting any bigger, doesn't matter how you slice it up, you'll never change it. You count everything, the thing towards the last pot, still 24 is all you got. Haven't they told you about the many pleasures that are part of all the rest? You came a little, you take a little, you love a little, you live a lot, still the total is happiness. But that's only one, you've just begun, there's gonna be more. Starting with true love, shining, love come out of the making for. Thank you for hanging with us. This next composition is a trumpet feature dedicated to a trumpeter. His name is Blue Mitchell, and it's written by a trumpeter, and his name is Bobby Shue. And we've been very fortunate to have Bobby Shue come to the Edmonds Woodway High School a couple times and play this with our band. And I'm going to try to play it for you now, but I would like to shout out the Music Boosters. I know there's a bunch of you here. You guys have been so supportive of this crew and the school as well. I've been playing a Durrell flugelhorn all night, and it's brand new, and there's a pile of new instruments on this stage thanks to the community support for this group. So give yourselves a big hand. Well, I will say a few more things before Mr. Arias bids you adieu, and this is the thing. There's a lot of news about AI and how exciting the future is for everybody. But there's an old piece of technology on this stage, and I think we should celebrate it. It's called the human brain. These people, we're doing all this pretty much without the assistance of computers up here. I think if we had a power outage, the band would sound pretty much like it's sounding. And your students are learning a ton about life by hanging out with each other and making this music with Mr. Arias. But also they're learning a ton about themselves and how they learn. So keep supporting music, and thank you very much for inviting me out.
Thank you, everybody. We're going to end with our last piece for tonight, Smack Dab in the Middle.
Would like to thank the sound guy. Give it up for a sound man. Well, I doubt that any of you know what a CD is, but if you would like a CD, Todd, I didn't bring it. So that's too bad. But if you want to follow me, you can find my name if you can spell it on the internet. It's jakebergemanmusic.com. And I'm a high school band teacher, and I actually also lead a pretty fun performing life. And I'm so thankful to get to do it. I would love to have you follow me on the socials. All you it's at Mr. Jake Jazz on the Insta if you want to follow me, or just pop into my website and say hi. I'd love to keep in touch with this community. It's been such a blast. Here we go. We did not get to rehearse this today, so we don't know what this sounds like. Where people like swinging time, stay awake day and night till everybody's feeling good, tight, then throw me smack dab in the middle, Harmony, smack dab in the middle, Charlie, smack dab in the middle, let me swing until I satisfy my soul, like a Cadillac, a diamond mill, 10 suits of clothes to dress to kill, Cadillac and some barbecue, 50 chicks over 22, then throw me smack dab in the middle, hurl me, smack dab in the middle, curl me, smack dab in the middle, let me swing until I satisfy my soul. We need the band, and we need Mr. Arias. We need to swing on a regular basis. We need this band to practice at night and play real tight. Yeah! Smack dab in the middle. Smack dab in the middle. Smack dab in the middle. Let me swing until I satisfy my soul. Sound good and tight. I want to shake when I hear them. It's so nice when I get near them. We are smack dab in the middle. Hurl me. Smack dab in the middle. Hurl me. Smack dab in the middle. Let me swing until I satisfy my soul. I want to swing until I satisfy my soul. Well, I want to swing now till I satisfy my soul.
tomorrow they can do some work here or some of the volunteer association. Just give us a couple minutes and we'll try to get as quickly as out as we can. Thank you everyone for showing up tonight. Hope you all enjoyed it. Have a great evening.